Now we've noticed that we've been solving binomial expansions without powers which are negative, or fractions. Now how do we solve negative powers and fractions when it comes to a binomial theorem? Okay, let's look at an example. Let's say you are told to expand 1 plus, let's say, x to the power negative 1. Now because the power is negative 1, let's say they've told you to end at let's say at 3. Okay, at 3, because you know that this expression goes to infinity. Okay, so it will never end, so you have to, maybe they'll give you where you're supposed to end from. Okay, so when you are given such an expression, whether you have a half power, or let me say a fraction, or a negative power, always make the first term to be a constant, or let me just say 1. Okay, so now how are you going to solve this one? So you're going to first, according to your binomial theorem, the first one you're just going to get the way it is, so that the first one is just 1. It will be to the power n. Okay, then plus, when you come to the second term, you know that our n and 1, like that, so we're going to get our n, which is negative 1, which is the power, then this will be 1 for our second term. Then you're going to get x. Now this x to just be to the power 1. Okay, so that's what you are going to do. Then you know that the other expression, which is 1, and 1 minus 1 just gives you a 0, so it will give you a 1. That's why we are not putting a 1 here. Okay, because it just gives us a 1 at the end of the day. Okay, so what are we now going to have? Okay, let me just try to explain what I'm talking about. According to your binomial theorem, so the second term, it will just be, you write your first one, then the other one is going to be a. Okay, you're going to say n minus 1. Now whatever the power is going to be, now because you've got 1 to the power any number, okay, in this case a positive number, it will still give you 1. That's why I'm not writing that. Okay, that's the advantage when you have a negative power. Okay, plus, so I'm not going to be writing 1s. Okay, then you go to the third term, n choose 2. Okay, this will be x now to the power 2 plus, and you're going to go all the way to infinity, but for this case let's end at 3. So I have negative 1. Oh, this is also negative 1, not okay, then you have 3. Now x to be to the power 3 plus, and this thing continues like that. So now what are you now going to have? Your job is just to find these combinations that you have. Okay, so let's start with the first one, negative 1 combination 1. So how are you going to solve this? So it will be negative 1 combination 1 will just be equivalent to be equals to negative 1 factorial over negative 1 minus 1. That will give me a negative 2. So I have negative 2 factorial and a 1 factorial. Now when I simplify this one, when I solve what is on top, I'm going to have negative 1 multiplied by negative 2 factorial. Okay, that's where I'll end from. Then here there's negative 2 factorial and the 1 factorial. So the negative 2 and the negative 2 can cancel. So you have negative 1 divided by 1. That will just give us a negative 1. Okay, then we come to the second one. The second one, it is 1. It is negative 1 choose 2. Okay, so how are we going to solve this one? So it will be negative 1 combination 2. This will be equals to negative 1 factorial over negative 1 minus 2. It will give us a negative 3. So this is negative 3 factorial. Then you have a 2 factorial. Then if we solve this one, on top it will be negative 1 multiplied by negative 2 multiplied by negative 3 factorial over I have a negative 3 factorial and the 2 factorial. So the negative 3 and the negative 3 can divide, then 2 into 2, that is 1, then 2 into negative 2 to be negative 1. Now the negative 1 multiplied by the negative 1 on top, I'm going to have a positive 1. Okay, allow me to solve the third one on top here. That is negative 1 combination 3. How am I going to solve this one? So this to be negative 1 combination 3. This is just the same as negative 1 factorial over, negative, I'm going to now do negative 1 minus 3. That will just give me a negative 4. So I have negative 4 factorial, 3 factorial. So when I solve what is on top, I'm going to have negative 1 times negative 2 times negative 3 times negative 4 factorial over negative 4 factorial, 3 factorial. Negative 4 and negative 4 factorial can go. Okay, now what do I have? 3 factorial is just the same as 3 times 2 times 1, which gives us a 6. Okay, so I can divide the 2 and the 2 here. I'm going to remain with a negative 1. I can divide the 3 and the 3 there. Here I'm also going to remain with a negative 1. Then if I multiply negative 1 multiplied by negative 1 multiplied by negative 1, it's going to give me a negative 1. So these are the answers to the combinations. Okay, so for the first one it gives us negative, for the second one it gives us a positive, for the third one it gives us a negative. So so it's moving negative, positive, negative. So allow us now to write that. Let's now simplify our expression. Okay, so what do we now have? You know that 1 to the power negative 1, it will just be the same as 1. If we say negative 1, we say 1 over 1 to the power 1, which will give us a 1. Okay, so this will be 1 plus n negative 1 combination 1. We said it is negative 1, so allow me to write my negative 1. This is multiplying by x. Okay, I come to the third term, negative 1 combination 2. It gave us a positive 1. This positive 1 is going to multiply by our x squared plus negative 1 combination 3. It gave us a negative 1. So this is negative 1 multiplied by x to the power 3 plus, and it's continuing like that. So I'm going to have 1 negative 1 multiplied by x. I'm going to have negative x plus 1 multiplied by x squared, that is just x squared. Negative 1 multiplied by negative x to the power, so it will be negative x to the power 3. So this is going to be our final answer in this expression. Now let's say now you have, let's say, a power. So how are you going to solve that? A power that is half. Okay, let's say you are taught to expand 4, let's say let's say you are taught to expand the square root of 4 plus 8x. So how are you going to solve this one? According to your exponentials, a power that is a square can also, it's just the same as half, right? So I'm going to have 4 plus 8x. Okay, this way expression is to the power half, right? Okay, then we earlier said that if it's a fraction or a negative, always make the first term to be a 1. So how are we going to do that? So I'm going to allow me to factorize. Okay, if I factorize the 4, I'm going to have 4, then here I'm going to remain with a 1, right? Plus this will be 2x. Okay, this whole expression is to the power half. Okay, now that I've got this expression, let me now distribute the half on each individual let me say terms that are in this expression. So the half is going to fall on 4, and the half is also going to fall on 1 plus 2x, like that. That's what it means, okay? Then the square root of 4, that is just a 2, okay? Or 4 to the power half is just the same as 2. From your exponentials, when you have a half like that, the denominator for the the power becomes the root. In this case, it is the square root, or 2, like that. Then everything to the power 1. This is the 1 there, and you solve. And you know that the square root of a 4, that is just a 2 to the power 1, just gives us a 2, okay? So that's what we've just done there. Then when you come to the other part, this is now the part that we are going to solve, okay, using the binomial expression. Then whatever we are going to get, we're going to multiply. The answer that we're going to get, we're going to now multiply it with the 2 throughout, okay? So how are we now going to solve this one? So let's use another page, okay? So we have 1 plus 2x to the power half. So now how do we solve this one? So allow me to keep my 2 and allow me to solve what is here, like the way we've been solving, like the way we've just solved the previous one, okay? So you know that the first term is just going to get the power, so it will be 1 to the power half, okay? That is the first term. Plus, we come to the second term, so we're going to get the power, which is half, and this is the first term, so it will be 1, okay? Then we said I will not be putting the 1, okay? So we're just going to be getting x, okay? So in this case, the one that has x is 2x. So we're just going to get the way it is, 2x. Plus, we come to the second one, so this is half. Now we're going to the third term, so this will be 2. Then now, in this case, it will be what? 2x now to the power 2. Okay, the powers of x are going to be increasing. We're going to have half. Now we're going to now have 3, because this is the fourth term, okay? So we'll have 2x, now it will be to the power 3. And we'll be going like that. We are going to end at 2x to the power 3, okay? Now, what are we now going to do? You are going to have your 2, maintain it, don't forget it. Then 1 to the power half is just the same as the square root of 1. The square root of 1 is just a 1. So allow me to put the 1 here in advance. Plus, then our job will be to find the combinations for these ones, and we solve, okay? So let's start with the one for negative 1 over 2 combination 1. So how do we solve this one? So you know that this expression is just the same as half factorial over, now half minus 1, it is negative half, okay? So negative half factorial and 1 factorial. Then we're going to solve, okay? So when we solve that, what are we now going to have? So on top, let me subtract the 1. Half minus 1, so this is half multiplied by half minus 1, it is negative half. So allow me to end at negative half factorial over, we've got negative half factorial multiplied by 1 factorial, which is just the same as 1, okay? So now the half factorial and the half factorial, they are going to divide, which will just give me a 1. Then when I divide by a 1, I'm going to have half, okay? So for the first expression, we found that the answer is just a half, okay? So allow me to write the half here, okay? This half is multiplying by 2x, okay? So what are you going to notice? That the 2 and the 2, they are going to divide, therefore you're just going to remain with an x, right? So allow me to write an x here, okay? Plus, let's now solve this one. So if we're going to solve this one, allow me to rub here, Okay, so how do we solve this one? We've got half combination 2. So how are you going to solve this one? So you're going to say half factorial on top, divided by, now half minus 2 minus 2, what is it going to give us? So I'm going to have 2, that is 1, minus, that is 2, that is 4. So I'm going to have negative 3 over 2. So that's what I'm going to have. So allow me to put it there. So this would be negative 3 over negative 3 over is it 4 factorial is it negative 3 over 4? So we had half minus a 2, that is a 2, that is 1, minus, that is a, okay, that is negative 3 over 2. Okay, so we're going to have a 2 down. Okay, factorial. Then we have 2 factorial. Then what are we now going to have? We are going to simplify what is on top. So half factorial minus 1 is going to give us a negative, so times negative 1 over 2 multiplied by, when you subtract another 1, we're going to have negative 3 over 2. Then this will have negative 3 over, so allow me put, there's a factorial here, negative 3 over 2 factorial multiplied by 2 factorial. So this and this can go. Then negative half, negative, there's half and the half. When we multiply these ones, what am I going to have on top? I'm going to have negative 1 over a 4. And we are dividing that by 2. Okay, there's a 2 down. So we're dividing this by 2. So allow me to multiply by so this will be 1 over 2. If I change the division to a multiplication sign, then I'm going to have negative 1 over 8. So that is my answer here in terms of the combination. So allow me to write it here. Then allow me to rub what we've just written. So we find our answer to be as negative 1 over 8. So let me just write it here. So I'll have okay, negative 1 over 8. This is multiplying by 2x squared. Now the 2 and the 8 can divide, therefore I'm just going to remain with a 4, right? Okay, so and this 4 multiplied by this negative 1, it will give me a negative 4. So allow me to write it in advance. So I'm going to have instead of having a plus there, now I'm going to have a positive, a negative actually. So I have a minus, a minus 4, a minus 4x squared plus, then we come to the other one, we've got half combination 3. So how am I going to solve this one? 1 over 2 factorial over half minus 3, half minus 3, that just gives me negative 5 over 2. Okay, so this will be negative 5 over 2 factorial, then we have 3 factorial. So now when we solve this one and when we're subtracting, so we're going to have 1 over 2 multiplied by negative 1 over 2. When I subtract another 1, I'm going to have negative 3 over 2. When I subtract another 1, I'm going to have negative 5 over 2. Everything divided by negative 5, there's a factorial here, negative 5 over 2 factorial, then I have a 3 factorial. So the negative and this one, they are going to cancel. Now that I've got that, Negative 3 factorial is just the same as 3 times 2 times 1, which just gives me a 6 down. Okay, then my job would be to find this expression. Okay, now if I solve what is on top, negative 1 multiplied by negative 3, that is just a positive 3, over 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, that is an 8. Okay, so now that I've got that, and that is dividing by 6, what do I now have? Allow me to erase this part. Okay, so we've got 3 over 8 is dividing by 6. Okay, so this would be the same as 3, over 8 times 1 over 6. Okay, so the 3 and can divide the 3 into 6, that is a 2. So on top I'm going to have 1 over 16. So that's what we're going to have there. So what are we now going to have on the fourth term? So we're going to have 1 over 16 from the combination. This is multiplying by 2 x to the power 3. Okay, so now that we've got such an expression, we just solve what is there. So 1 plus x minus 4x squared. When you simplify this one, 2 can divide into this. Okay, then I'm going to have an 8. So 1 over 8 x to the power 3. Then my job will be to now distribute the 2 throughout. So 2 multiplied by 1, I'm going to have 2, plus 2 multiplied by this x, I'm going to have 2x. 2 multiplied by the negative 4x, I'm going to have negative 8x squared, plus when 2 multiplies with 1 over 8, you know that the 2 is just going to divide with the 8, giving us 4, right? So you are going to have 1 over 4x to the power 3, and you would have solved your expression. So this is how we solve when you have powers which are negative and fractions.